morning, dear students. Let's continue our class on the Constitution of India. But I hope you can recall what we had learnt in the previous class. We had learnt about the making of the Constitution, the preamble to the Constitution. Today, we will try to understand guiding principles, fundamental rights, and fundamental duties. Let's start from the directive principles of state policy. Now here is a question. What is directive principles of state policy? It's basically constitutional instruction gives to state. The directive principles of state policy are guidelines for making government policies. Dear students, do you know the concept of directive principles of state policy was borrowed from the Irish Constitution. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar described these principles as novel features of Indian Constitution. Directive principles of state policy denotes the ideals that the state should keep in mind while formulating the policies and enacting the law. These are the constitutional instructions to the government when making laws for the country. Every country has a set of rules according to which the government governs the country. The set of rules is called Constitution. Our country also has the Constitution. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was the architect of the Constitution of India. Dear students, how does the Constitution help us? A Constitution gives every citizen some basic rights. These are called fundamental rights. These rights are for the well-being of the citizen. It clearly states what powers the government has over the citizens as well as rights and duties of the citizens towards the country. Here are some important aspects of these 6 fundamental rights. Right to equality. All citizens, irrespective of their religion, caste, race, and place of birth, are treated as equal. Right to freedom. The right to freedom allows all citizens to speak freely, choose any occupation, and reside and travel anywhere within the country. It also provides free and compulsory education of all citizens between 6 to 14 years of age. Right to exploitation. The right against exploitation ensures that the poor people are not need to work without payment. This right also does not allow children below 14 years of age to be employed. Right to freedom of religion. The right to freedom of religion means that all people are free to follow any religion. Next, the cultural and educational rights. Cultural and educational rights protect the minorities. It also allows them to develop and preserve their culture. Sixth one, right to constitutional remedies. Right to constitutional remedies allows every citizen to move court in any of their rights are denied. We now know that all of us have some rights. But with rights, some duties. Let us see. What are fundamental duties of citizen of India? We must abide by the Constitution. We must show respect to the national flag and national anthem. We must take care of the environment. We must take care of public property. We must preserve our cultural heritage. Parents or guardians must send their children to school. Our constitution gives us some rights and expects us to perform certain duties. We should abide by these and become beautiful citizens of our country. Now, let us see a video and understand this concept clearly. That's all for today. Thank you.
Children, at home you expect your parents to look after you. You expect them to provide you with a home, give you food and clothes, and to pay your school fee. These are your rights. But when you have rights, you also have some duties. Some of your main duties are to respect and help your parents, and to pay them. What do you think are your other duties? Think. Let me explain you. Our Constitution. Our country was ruled by the British for almost 200 years. After a long and hard struggle, India got its independence from the British on the 15th of August 1947. Our leaders got together to form a government. One of the first things they did was to make a set of rules, based on which the government would run. This set of rules is known as our Constitution. The Constitution was accepted on the 26th of January 1950. We celebrate this day as Republic Day. Our Constitution lays down some important guiding principles that have to be followed by the leaders of our nation. The preamble, or introduction, to our Constitution describes India as a democratic, socialist, secular republic. What does it mean? Let us understand. Democratic. This means that all the people of the country will choose or elect leaders who would form the government. This kind of government is known as democracy. Thus, our country is no longer ruled by kings. If the people are not happy with their elected leaders, they can be removed from their posts. Socialist. This means that all the people in the country will be treated as equals. The government will not differentiate between people on the basis of their caste, religion or in any other way. This is known as the principle of socialism, secular. This means that all people in the country would be free to follow whatever religion they want. This is the principle of secularism. Republic. This means that our head of state is elected by the people. India is headed by an elected president, unlike Britain whose head of state is a hereditary monarch. Our fundamental rights. The Constitution of India gives its citizens certain fundamental rights. If anyone feels that his or her fundamental rights have been denied, he or she can approach a court of law. Let us learn some important rights. Right to equality. Everyone is equal. Right to freedom of speech. We can speak freely without fear. Right to follow any religion. Right to justice. Right to live and travel anywhere in the country. Right to choose our profession. Right to free and compulsory education for all children up to the age of 14. However, these rights are not absolute and the government may take certain measures, like reserving jobs or seats in colleges for the backward and poorer sections of society, for their upliftment. Our duties. Duties always come along with rights. Some of our important duties as citizens of India are: we must follow the rules laid down by the Constitution. We must honor the national flag and national anthem. We must help to keep our country united. We must defend our country at the time of danger. We must protect our national property. We must protect our environment. We must treat all Indians as equals. Facts to learn. Some of the other forms of government are 1. Monarchy. The state is ruled by a king or queen. The monarchy is hereditary. That is, when the monarch dies, his or her child becomes the new ruler. Dictatorship. The state is ruled by a single leader who has absolute power. He or she often misuses this power to oppress the people. The rule here is not hereditary. Communism. All property is owned by the government. The state provides its people with health care, education and welfare. All people are seen as equal by this government. Directive principles. Our constitution lays down certain guidelines for the government to follow, for the welfare of the people. Let us see some of the important guidelines. Providing proper living conditions for all citizens. Providing work for everyone. Ensuring that some people do not become rich by exploiting others. Communism. All property is owned by the government. The state provides its people with health care, education and welfare. All people are seen as equal by this government. I now know. Our constitution is a set of rules based on which our government runs. India is a democratic, socialist, secular country. The constitution gives all citizens certain fundamental rights and also lays down the duties of the citizens. The directive principles laid down in the constitution guide the government to work for the welfare of the people.